Hi everyone, welcome back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with your instant match reaction to Newcastle United being dumped out of the FA Cup at home against Brighton & Hove Albion in extra time, 2-1 to the Seagulls. A very weird game, some disappointing things about this game, certainly certain player performances and actions, which we're going to get right into in a minute. Just a little reminder, if you're just checking us out for the first time, hello, good to see you. Smash subscribe. Come and help us get to the next milestone. We actually just gone over the 10,000 mark. Mark's been itching to pull up this new banner, but every time we go over a mark, 2 subscribers normally disappear. So thank fuck that they haven't on this occasion. But I don't get too excited too quickly. But thank you very much, everyone, for getting us over the 10,000 subscriber mark. We're buzzing. That's probably the only good thing I'm going to mention today, because I'm going to talk about that shower of shit game in a minute. So again, you were live. Get in the comments. Loads of you there already. Mark will be starting your comments for me to have a look at them in a minute. But let's get stuck into the lineup then. So the big news in the lineup today was that Big Joe was back. Big Joe Linton was back in the lineup. But it was great to see Big Joe Linton back in the lineup. It was sad not to see Sven Botman. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that. My God, we need Botman back so badly. We need him back so badly. There should just be one of them big signs in the sky, the Botman signal, to jump in the Botman mobile and come and save the day. Because if I had to see Fabian Schär stink out St James's Park anymore, I'm going to smash me glasses off the wall. He's crap. I'm going to get stuck into him in a minute. But that's how we lined up. So no big surprise. Bruno Guimaraes went out and Dubravka came back in. Everyone was screaming for it. We wanted it. We saw it today. He came back in. And it was a very strange first half. I think both teams were kind of cancelling each other out. I really like the way Brighton played football. Obviously, Yankuba Minteh, former Newcastle United player or non-player, if you will, was playing for them. João Pedro led the line from not Danny Welbeck. More on him in a minute. But yeah, so both teams were kind of going up against each other, cancelling each other out. Brighton playing some lovely football in between each other, little triangular passes, nice little moves. Didn't have the final ball. We looked quite threatened on the break. Gordon, like he was up for it. Obviously, no Lewis Hall today, ankle injury. Fucking let's pray to the football gods that isn't a big problem, especially after what happened later on in the game. Tino went over the left back. He looked quite good there, to be fair, with loads of marauding runs. You know, we started to kind of move a little bit better. You know, lovely little play from Isak, little back heels, little flicking through the legs, getting fouled, that kind of stuff as well. And then on the 22nd minute, we get the goal. So Tino Livramento goes on the steaming run up the park. He's in the box, and Yankuba Minteh, and I'm just going to put this down to youthful inexperience. He just makes a stupid, ridiculous tackle. No need for the tackle whatsoever. Any Brighton fan watching or who climbed up to level 7 and was out of breath probably the most of the first half must have been thinking, what the fuck are you doing, mate? It was a stupid tackle by Minteh. It's a blatant penalty. The penalty goes in. Alexander Isak comes up, and I don't know about you lot, but I was shitting myself hoping it wasn't going to be one of them silly Padenka penalties that he took in the last game against Forest. But he absolutely melted this penalty in the top bins. It was probably as close to the perfect penalty as you're ever going to see. And then we looked like we were in control after that. I know we looked like the team was going to go on and score the second goal. Alexander Isak scores an unbelievable strike, similar to the Arsenal one, which I think got ruled out for offside as well, because he is offside. He takes the back of the net off it. It was such a great first-time strike. Livid that was disallowed. But then Brighton started to come back into it, started to get comfortable on the ball again, kind of stepped off them a bit in midfield. You know, they just had more confidence on the ball than we did at a particular time. And then Tino Livramento had a good first half, completely switches off, disappears. Nobody tracks this run. Fabian Schär, God knows what he's doing. Yankuba Minteh just runs around the back of about 3 of them, and he's in the box and he slips it away. And massive credit to Yankuba Minteh for not celebrating against Newcastle United as well. Never played for us, this young kid, to be fair, and still have the respect to go like this with his hands and not celebrate. I've got a lot of time for that. Some people give players shit for that, but I've got a lot of time for that. So that's 1-1. And you're thinking, okay, fair enough. Second half, let's try and come out. Let's try and take control of the game. Newcastle come out in the second half once again and do fuck all. Absolutely nothing. Some of the performances from some of the players who were supposed to get the chances today. I'm not going to go too hard on Louis Miley. I didn't think he did anything bad or anything really good in the first half. He made some really good runs, but Gordon didn't find them because he was either being too greedy or he was trying to chip a ball at the far post and see Miley's runs. So that Miley was neat and tight again on the ball. But Harvey Barnes, man, fucking hell. How many more times is Harvey Barnes going to get a chance and do fuck all? Outside of the chance where he puts across to Isak in the first kind of 10 minutes of the game and Isak should score and doesn't score. He did nothing for the rest of the game, Harvey Barnes. Absolutely shit. He looked more interested than he had done in previous outings, but just no end product, nothing. And he gets hooked as well. I'm trying to remember when he actually got hooked, Harvey Barnes, into the game. So Harvey Barnes gets hooked on the 56th minute. He did absolutely fuck all, really. One of his 3 dribbles successful, 77% passing accuracy, 1 key pass, which was the one for the header. And that was it. Just nothing. Absolutely shit. It just makes that transfer look even worse, to be brutally honest with you, in terms of Harvey Barnes. So we make loads of subs coming on the 50th minute. Murphy comes on for Barnes. Joe Willock comes on for, I think it's Joe Linton. Louis Miley comes off for Bruno, which I thought was a little bit harsh as well. He comes on, Bruno comes on, and Bruno had nice few touches here and there, and try and make a few things happen. Nice little link-up play with Tonali, who was excellent, I thought, in the second half. The only one who really stepped up and did anything. And there's a cross that comes across the box. I think Willock should bury it when he comes on. He goes into the box and he almost pulls his head back instead of puts his head forward for a header. And it's moments like that in games in an FA Cup where you need to take your chances and get the chance. But the big talking point is on the 83rd minute. So I think is it before or after? No, this is before Fabian Schär scores the disallowed winner. So in the 83rd minute, there's a chance that comes in and there's an offside. And I think Gordon and Isak are trying to make some runs or whatever. And then out of nowhere, Anthony Gordon decides to grab his hands and grab it on Van Hickel's face and shove him aggressively in the side of his face, just out of absolute nowhere whatsoever. Van Hickel goes down like a sack of shit. And the ref comes over and you can see the red card behind him. And do you know what it is? When I looked at it in the replay, I thought, what the fuck have you done that for? Like, this is 2025 football. You cannot put your hands on a player's face and shove them aggressively like that. You cannot do that. And he gets the red card, and I can't argue with it. I think it's a red card. Has to be a red card. You cannot shove people in the face like that. I mean, if the referee had given him a yellow, you would have thought the ref had probably bottled it, really. But Gordon can't do that. And now the silly bollocks is missing 3 games, which includes the Carabao Cup final. I know he's a young player, but if he wants to be an elite player, he needs to act like a fucking elite player. And that's not what elite players do. That was stupid by Anthony Gordon. So he gets the red card, and then we've got 10 men. Shortly after that, Lampard gets another second yellow. Then he's in a red card. Ball comes in, I think, on 94th minute or something like that. Schär comes in, puts a great finish in, but he's offside. Goes to extra time. We're huffing and puffing. We're not really making a great deal of clear-cut chances. And then Danny Welbeck comes up again at St James's Park again, gets his chance. Bruno Guimaraes completely fucking switches off, lets him run straight past him like he's Patrick Swayze in Ghost. Can't see him. He just fucking drifts by him. And he gets into the box, and it's a lovely finish, and it's 2-1. And to be fair, Brighton deserved it, I think, towards the end. Both teams cancelled each other out. But Brighton definitely stepped up in that second half, and certainly in extra time, Brighton looked like they were the team who wanted to win it. Tonali had a couple of really good chances in the second half, which again, he takes a little bit too long. He hesitates with the shot. But overall, we didn't deserve to win in extra time, and we probably wouldn't have deserved to win on pens either. Dubravka much better than Pope, by the way. That I think that goes without saying. A couple of nice saves as well in injury time. But again, it's the squad depth. It's the lack of impact, motivation, people taking their chances. Like Harvey Barnes, he should be screaming for a chance when he gets a chance. He should be grabbing it with both hands, shooting on fucking sight, trying to slip people through. He's just not doing it. And now with Gordon missing, he's got a great chance to force his way into the starting 11, which I'll get into more in the aftermath about what the fucking options are. Now Gordon's off. But I don't see Barnes taking the chance because he just seems to not give a shit. He comes on the pitch and he just strolls through games, and it drives me mad. I don't understand why. Wilson was on later for Isak as well, hobbled off. Hopefully he's all right. But Newcastle got what they deserved in the second half, which was fuck all, because again, it was a nothing performance in the second half. Way too sloppy with the ball, made problems for ourselves. Shit passing, lackadaisical passing, no sense of urgency, no sense of position, didn't know what anybody was. And this is happening time and time again for Newcastle United. I mean, I'm conflicted here. I'm torn a bit, right? Because I said in the preview that going out the FA Cup wasn't really the end of the world. And it's not the end of the world, because the reason it's not the end of the world is because we have a Carabao Cup final. But if we play like that against Liverpool, we'll get cooked quicker than a fucking steak on a Sunday barbecue. There's no doubt about that at all in my mind. Anthony Gordon will have no influence on the game because he'd be sitting at home watching it, doing fucking nout because he's stupid. And I'll get into him in the aftermath in a lot more detail, I'll tell you that. But the problem is with this squad is it's wafer thin, it lacks quality. When the going gets tough, and there is no more tough to get going because they're either on the pitch to start the game, and if they're not good enough to impact the game, then I don't know who is off the bench. There's nothing really there at all. So it's really worrying. And this team and this squad has gone by 3 transfer windows without adding any first team players, and it shows in games like that. So let's get your comments there. I'll draw a breath. Marcus says, bottled it. Totally agree. Chippers agrees, bottled it. Chris says, what the fuck was that? Jordan says, massive opportunity missed today. Worst possible outcome, losing extra time. 3-game ban for Gordon. Dreadful performance. Consistent says, why take off Miley? That's a great question. Consistent. What was he doing wrong? I think Louis Miley was having a decent game. I thought he was playing really well. I mean, give him the second half to start with, let him do something. But, maybe that was the plan all along. Maybe he's protecting him for West Ham. I don't know. That's a week away. So it's a good question. John Spence said, I think this season is going to be a disaster. It could easily implode now, John. It could just go whoosh right down the fucking toilet, because these lot don't seem to have the mentality to play these big occasions. They seem to bottle it. They seem to shit it. Let's be honest with you. One of my good mates, Steve, I told him that Gordon had been sent off, and he said he's been shit for weeks anyway, which just sums up Gordon, I suppose. But it is disappointing that he's not going to be there for the final, definitely. Graham says, wholesome, root and branch required. Wholesale, beg your pardon, root and branch required. Clearly too many being carried, not good enough. Shame, but all carriers must come to an end at some stage. Totally agree. Alexander says, fucking shite. Don't disagree with that, Alexander. Cher is a fucking disgrace as Chippers, yet he keeps on playing. That's my worry. All these people talking about, oh, yeah, Cher should have a new contract. No, he fucking shouldn't. Because if he gives him a new contract and he signs a new centre-half, he'll still play Cher. Because for some reason he thinks Cher's fucking Iron Man or Captain America or a key Avenger that he can't drop. He cannot run. He cannot pass. His passes are so low. Like I say, they're cutting the grass quicker than the fucking lawnmower at St. James's Park. He's shit. He's done. He's finished. Byrne is good at what Byrne does. He throws himself in front of the ball. He gets in the way. He's good at that, Byrne. That's what he does, and he can keep doing that for a season or two. But Fabian Cher, his biggest strength was carrying the ball, making these killer passes, being calm and composed. Yes, he gets that finish today, but he's offside. But Cher is absolutely done, man. He's nailed. His legs are completely and utterly gone. Comment there from Phil saying, congratulations on reaching 10K subs, Chris. Well deserved. Shame about the result. Thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate that. Dean is saying simply not good enough. Totally agree with that. And another comment from Dean, Dean Young, that is, I don't understand why we try and walk the ball in, mate. That was driving me up the wall. Have a fucking shot, for fuck's sake. How many times were we on the edge of the box? Have a shot. And that was one thing that Louis Miley started to do. So again, why take him off? Because he was only wanting to see if he'd be having a shot. Like Wenger 15 years ago. Exactly. So frustrating, mate. Big Al saying, another chance of a trophy gone. Need to clear it in the summer. Too many players not good enough. Cher, Wilson, Welbeck, etc. Totally agree, mate. The manager might be one that gets cleared out if he doesn't win that Carabao Cup final, get Champions League. I still stand by that. George says in the second he was on, it was inevitable he was going to be the scorer. Absolutely. Because that's what, he's a big game player. People can say what they want about Danny Welbeck. He's beaten there for big teams. He knows how to stay in the game, and he does that well. That's what he did. Philip says, whoa, that was bad. Phil says, Joe Willock, very poor again. Absolutely. Brian says, hi to you, Brian. Neil says, please take that score down on screen. We always keep it up, mate, sadly, just in case people didn't know what the score was. And on a positive note, Marcus says, congrats on the 10K. Thank you very much. Stephen says, Chris, you're currently describing every game under how we start great, dominate for around 20 minutes and allow the opposition back in, an abysmal second half on the manager. You won't get a disagreement off me here, Stephen. A lot of people seem to think that Eddie Howe was infallible and totally exempt of criticism. He's the guy that gets him at halftime and talks to them. He's the guy that sets them up. Yes, the players have to implement the plan, but this is happening time after time after time. So either the personnel is the problem or the manager is the problem, or it's a mixture of both. But it needs to get fucking sorted. They've got to show up for one game on March the 16th, which, by the way, we should hopefully be doing a live watch along. We don't normally do that, but as it's the final, we're going to make an exception and do a live watch along. So hopefully that's a bit of good news for you Evermore fans as well. Me and Mark will be on the screen at the same time. Oh, my word. I haven't seen that for a while. And we'll be watching that game and hopefully not watching through my fucking fingers. But if we do play shit, I will throw the biggest wobble alive on the camera you will ever see. So that might be worth watching. Hopefully I don't do that because we win the game. Liam said, I can't describe how angry I am. Exactly, Liam. It's so disappointing. It happens all the fucking time. Graham said, adversity personified top to the bottom. It's tough to say how much positive about that other than well played Brighton, the better team won. Brighton are a great team. They are. And I think we showed them a lot of respect today. But there's just no killer instinct from us today. No killer instinct, no willingness to get on the ball, make it happen. It's no surprise to me that the best player in the last couple of games has been an 18-year-old lad, and he didn't do it today, but maybe in the second half he could have done it. But again, he was taken off, and I don't understand why. George is saying, wow, 10K. I'm not so livid. Well done, Evermore. Thank you very much, George. That's the only good bit of news today, mate. Philip saying we need to rebuild that team in the summer. Isak is the only one I would keep a hold of. There's probably about 3-4 max I'd keep a hold of. The rest would be on the bike. And sell Barnes to Everton along with Longstaff. I'll drive him there, mate. John Cook saying blatant red card, total madness from Gordon. Petulant and pathetic. It really is. I'm massively, massively fucked off with Anthony Gordon. I really am. He's been excellent here for the majority of his time here, but that was the lowest point of his Newcastle career. Tune into the aftermath, guys, which will go tomorrow. I'm going to fucking go at that decision because I'm absolutely disgusted with that. I really am. And I can't believe he was that fucking stupid to do something like that in modern day football. But I'll save that for the aftermath because I'm absolutely raging with that from Anthony Gordon. Philip saying Callum Wilson truly finished, nowhere near good enough anymore. He's so rusty, Philip, isn't he? I can hear his knees creaking. The Callum Wilson of even 2 years ago, sharper, quicker movement in the box, getting on there. Hit him in the face twice. Hit him in the face. That's how slow he is. Doesn't know what he's doing, man. He's one injury from walking football. Dreadful. George said, no trophy, no Europe. The door is that away. I think that will be the exit door for Edward Howe, if that's the case. Derek saying, I might not be popular here, but I think Bruno needs to be sold in the summer. I agree with you, Derek. Don't worry about that, mate. You're not unpopular with that opinion. I think he offers fuck all. He's been dreadful for the last 3 or 4 games. I've seen people getting attacked on X for even talking about how bad he was off form. I think John Anderson had said it on BBC, and people going, oh, no, you can't slag him off. He's Bruno, he's a captain, we love him. Well, of course we love him. He's a great character, right? But he's not doing it on the pitch. Slow as fuck. He really is slow. That's the one thing people criticise Miley for is his lack of pace. Bruno's even slower. Honestly, I look at him, I think he's running like he's just had a fucking Toby Carvery half the time. I think, how can you be that slow? As a top-level footballer, we need more pace and energy in that side. Joe Litton being back is good because he gives you that aggression. Threw in a few good tackles today as well. He's rusty, Joe. Can't be too harsh on him for his performance, but need Joe Litton to stay fit, man, massively, because Bruno's way off form, and we've got West Ham coming next on the Monday, and then we're going to have the big game, the final. So we need a good result against West Ham because we can't go in the final, get my pants pulled down in London, or we're going to be in big, big fucking trouble. We really, really are. Philip says again, what does Kraft have to do to get a start instead of share? I don't know, mate. That's a question for Eddie Howe, but no journalists will ever put one to him. Was it Luke Edwards said to him, have you been working out? Fuck off. Honestly, ask him a real question, man. What a load of bollocks. It was the most cringeworthy shit I've ever heard in my life. I'm sick of these journalists not asking proper questions. Ask questions about that game. Ask questions about why it went so wrong. Why didn't we make the right decisions? Why do we keep losing the ball? Ask that question. Have you been working out? Do me a fucking favour, honestly. Don said, not even the most optimistic person can think we'll beat Liverpool. Piss poor performances. We have to hope Liverpool have an off day, which they haven't had all season. That's the only way that we're going to win that final. I'm sorry. If Liverpool have an off day and we play on our absolute best, I'm talking Paris Saint-Germain, Arsenal in the cup best. And we're not going to be able to play to our full potential because Anthony Gordon's suspended, and fuck me, Lewis Hall might even be injured. So we'll be missing 2 massive players there. They're going to need to wrap Botman in cotton wool and play him in the final. I don't think Botman will play against West Ham, but I think he'll play against Liverpool, and we have to be at the top of our game and have to hope they have an off day, or we are going to come away with nothing. Stephen saying, Groundhog Day again, Chris. Call out the stale predicament tactics, but utterly passive, unimaginative manager. He doesn't really have any ideas, Stephen. I've got to say, he doesn't fill me for the confidence. When we get ahead in a game and we stay ahead in a game, we need to be 2 goals up because if anyone comes back at us now, I really wonder what Eddie Howe's plan is. But again, like I say, the problem is when you criticise Howe, you get jumped on, you get lambasted by, the Kool-Aid swiggers, and the people who worship at the church of Howe and Tyndall. They're not infallible. They can make mistakes. They can make bad decisions or not quick enough decisions in games. Yes, you can blame the players, but you can't solely blame the players. The players need to take direction from the manager. So everyone's to blame when you see shit games like that, where you're in front and then you throw it away. That's a lack of mentality that runs right throughout the club of how to stay in front in the game. And if we could get that shit right, we'd be much higher up in the table. We'd be worried about finishing the Champions League because we'd be third or something like that, and we'd get a finals all the fucking time. John saying, I can't see hanging out to Isak in the summer. I think we're going to miss out on Champions League. I can see he's missing out on Europe altogether. I don't disagree with that, mate. Marcus in January, we're in 5th place in the final. It's time to strengthen the squad. Big mistake not strengthening the squad. I totally agree. I think we should have strengthened the squad. All this PSR bollocks, shove it for me. Other teams strengthened. Look at Aston Villa. Yes, the sold players. That's where we've gone wrong. We've held on to players way too long who are now regressing in front of our eyes. Name them. Nick Pope, Fabian Schär, Callum Wilson, Trippier. They're all regressing in front of our eyes. Willock, that's 5 players out of that squad that you could have sold at that time. Even if you got 10 million from them, you're getting 50 million quid back in, right? You get more than that for some of them, right? In fact, Bayern Munich wanted to give us 15 million for Trippier. He didn't sell him then. Wilson, 10, 12 million. No, he didn't sell him then. Almiron, he eventually sold him, and you're hanging on to players way too long. Even Harvey Barnes. I'd have sold Harvey Barnes. Pointless signing, and he's done nothing to justify his worth. But now we're going to need him to step up in Gordon's absence and actually be the Harvey Barnes that we saw when he first came in pre-season and the start of this season when he was getting goals and assists. And that is a fucking big ask. It really, really is. I think we should convert Shaw to a striker, says Rabbit. Now, maybe we should, because he's shit at the back. And New Zealand Bob is saying, if people criticise Shaw, they get accused of scapegoatism. I fucking hate that, Bob. Anytime you criticise a player, oh, so who's the scapegoat? No, is he? No, he's the bad performer in that game that we lost. And that's it. That's football. It has been that way ever since it was invented, and it will be that way till it ends, till the world ends. That is football. If someone plays shit, you can criticise them. That is your right to be a football fan. Marcus in Brighton practically playing with 9 men during extra time. Yeah, Brighton are a good football inside, man. They destroy us to pieces there. Reed and Ronan saying this could be the defining moment of the season. Gordon could have taken it all down. Oh, that's a hell of a thing to throw on Anthony Gordon. But hey, you do stupid things like that, then you're going to get the blame. Roy saying, can't understand the lack of effort at home. The crowd was flat as well today, wasn't it? I don't know whether that was just the players weren't giving them what they needed to motivate them, or whether people weren't overly bothered about the FA Cup. I don't know. I'm just watching Eddie get interviewed there on the telly, and he looks vexed. He looks perplexed. He's doing that usual Eddie Howe thing. I'm sure he's using some great articulation and sounding very educated and charming and middle class as he does, but it's all just fucking spin, isn't it? I'd like to hear him just come out and say, well, it wasn't good enough. If we want to be a top team, we can't play like that. Another comment there from Tuna, we get beat. Let's get over it and move on. But yeah, that's fine, Tuna, but we're talking about it. That's the whole point of a post-match review, mate. Can't just rock on and go, hey, welcome to Evermore YouTube channel. We got beat. Right, bye, everyone. Move on. Subscribe. See you later. Got to talk about the game, mate. I don't understand what your perception of a post-match review is. Sean is saying, this, I believe, is a turning point for Howe. Well, we've been here before, mate. We really have been here before. Derek thinks that Howe should move on in the summer. Well, this will be a big question, because this season is riding on Champions League, and it's riding on a trophy. Really, that's what it is. We need to really sort out our game management. We really, really do. Agent Tex and Super Chat, thank you very much, mate. Stop being negative. We only needed 5th. Love the rants. It's not negative, Agent Tech. It's just factual, mate. It's pragmatic. But thank you for your Super Chat, boy, lad. Really appreciate it. But the thing is about this is I get frustrated because in moments in games, as people have said before, Newcastle United look great. They look composed. They look organised. They look like they've got control of a game. And then out of nowhere, it completely falls off the edge of a cliff. And I can't understand why. I really, really can't understand why. And quite often, it's when they go in at half-time. Certainly over the last, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, they go in at half-time, and they come back on the pitch, and they look a different team. And I don't understand. I do not understand. It's just mental, absolutely mental. Let's check a few more comments there, guys. Comment there from Grant saying, I know what they'll say now. Gordon got himself sent off, so he doesn't have to face Liverpool in the final. They're so predictable, aren't they, the press? You can just tell it's coming, mate. Liam saying, the press conference with West Ham, I want some serious questions asked to Eddie Howe. Well, unless I'm there or Paul from Toon Review, mate, you probably won't get that, because you'll get people asking him if he's working out, because you look buff, Eddie. I couldn't believe that shit, honestly. And then you've got was it her from The Guardian, Louise Taylor, just saying fucking about drones and geopolitics. It is crazy, absolutely crazy. Marcus saying this channel is by far the best Newcastle United channel. No woke shy. I appreciate that, Marcus. Thank you very much, mate. Is Isak injured, says Ty? I just think he was feeling that leg a little bit, mate, to be honest with you. I didn't think he'd play at all. I really didn't think he'd play at all. We're coming there from Jay from the Tunes, and our press conferences are a waste of time, a joke. I totally agree. I'd love a fan forum, but they'll never do it. I mean, they've got a podcast there. Was it the Adopted Geordies that it says supposed to be a fan podcast, but it's basically a comedian and his mate that are employed by the club to spin the club's narrative. So fair enough. You know, if that's what you want to watch it, cool. More power to their elbow. I prefer to watch real fans talking about Newcastle United, like Toon Review, like Gallagher Shots, True Faith, you know, Rob Robinstein, those kind of guys. I like to prefer watching real fans talking about the game, because if we play shit and somebody's shit, they'll say it's shit. Matty as well from the Magpie channel, shout out to Matty. All those guys, you know, I prefer to watch that. That's a real fan who's got an emotional response to a game that hasn't gone very well for Newcastle United. You don't see that when the club's got a hand up the arse, control the narrative. So, you know, that's my opinion on that. Sorry if that's a little bit controversial. Tony saying, absolutely boiling, Chris. Coming back from that, yeah, it's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult to quantify that, I think, really. It really, really is. Here, comment from Paul saying, we won't ever be a top team with players like this or a manager that isn't cutthroat enough. These next two games are season defined. I don't disagree with that at all, Paul. I think, for me, Howe is still a young manager, and I can see Tuna with another comment there. I'm not even putting that up, but for me, Howe is a young manager, and he can learn. He can keep learning. A few months ago, the nice route for Eddie Howe, a lot of people were saying he's took the team as far as he can go, time to go, right? I said the same thing. But then he went and win a run. He turned it back around. He went back to basics. He made his play a lot better. And everyone said, hey, do you know what? Fair enough. He's chucked it in my face. Big respect to you, Eddie. But he's a young manager and he needs to learn. But one thing he needs to learn is he needs to get rid of this sentimentality and over loyalty to players that have done really well for him in a moment, in a time stamp of his career. Look at Pep Guardiola as a perfect example. You know, crying his eyes out when Aguero left. We could never replace him. Signed Erling Haaland. You know, Joe Hart, he's essential to us. Got rid and sold Edison who can play with the ball. That's what you do as a top manager. You can't be sentimental. You have to be ruthless when you need to be ruthless. Keegan was the same. David Kelly scores that goal that keeps us in the league. Both off you go. Andy Cole's in. That's how you do it. That's how you play the game. And if Eddie wants to be an elite level manager, he has to discover that ruthless streak. And that's probably one thing that's missing from him at the moment. I think he's a great coach. I love him in press conferences. He is very articulate, especially compared to old Bacon Bollocks, the previous guy. But for me, that's where Eddie needs to come in. He has to be more ruthless. He really, really does. Just a few more comments, guys, coming in there. What have we got here? Ty says, I heard Dubs was good. Obviously, you didn't watch the game. Ty, he was much better than Pope, that's for sure. You could just tell that everybody felt a little bit more confident. The defense felt more confident when he was there, even passing back to him. I thought Trips was decent today. You know, man of the match, I've not even done that. Man of the match, I think I'm going to go with Sandro Tonali. I thought he really started coming to the game well. He was breaking up play well. It's a toss-up between him and Tino. I thought Tino was good. A left back, excellent left back. Actually looked better left back. He did a right back. But yeah, the toss-up between Tonali and Tino for me. But it's hard to pick a man of the match out of the sky when we just lost the game in such a shocking way, really. And he was saying this over loyalty is what Bournemouth fans spoke about. Absolutely. They really, really did. You know, we've seen this before from Eddie Howe. Jay from the Tuna saying we can't keep recontracting 30-somethings being sentimental. I've said that for ages, Jay. I really have. And again, you get jumped on for it, you know, because people have an affinity to these lads. And listen, they've been great players for us, right? They've taken us to brilliant places. But there's better players over the years that played for Newcastle United that people don't have the same level of sentimentality for because it was a different era. When Keegan was trying to win titles, there was way better players that played for us than some of these guys. David Ginola, who fucked off and went to Spurs. Les Ferdinand. Rob Lee. And David Batty, Philip Albert. These guys were playing for us when we were nearly winning titles, and people don't have the same level of sentimentality to them than they do to Jacob Murphy, who today was shocking again, could barely pass wind if he ate a fucking tin of beans, kept losing the ball all the time, stupid decisions, reverting back to the Jacob Murphy that we all know from the last few years, but again, if you criticize these players, you get jumped on. You don't get jumped on in our chat. And if you are going to be stupid about it in the comments, then you'll just get ignored. And if you are going to be abusive, you'll get flicked because pricks get flicked. Simon Ward is saying, time and time again, the same shit happens. A few good games, then lose to mid-table. Or Eddie has had enough chances, in my opinion. You're entitled to that opinion, Simon. You are entitled to that opinion, mate. Nobody is going to have a go at you for that opinion in this chat. Not the standard Evermore viewers and anyone who's just checked us out for the first time who wants to talk freely about football. If Simon doesn't want to have here anymore, that's entirely Simon's right. And when you lose games in that fashion, then you've got a right to be criticised. So fair play, Simon. Keith Trisco, the super chat. Thanks, buddy. Liverpool are going to run straight through us playing it the way we are. Shite, utter shite. Very, very hard to disagree with that, Keith. It's worrying for the final. It really, really is. Kiwi Toon saying, unless the club sorts out its revenue streams, it will be rinse and repeat. Yeah, I hate talking about the money I could do because you feel like you're having a mortgage review, but it's hard not to look at it this way, isn't it? Joe Litton Trips played well, Sister Coin. I thought they did. I thought Trips looked a lot better today, closing stuff down. Really, really good. Really, really good. But again, his legs can't take, doing it week in, week out, really. I don't know what to say about that. He shouldn't be here, really. Next season, we should be looking to move on, to be fair. But, Eddie Howe probably want to sign him up for another 5-year deal, possibly. But we'll wait and see what happens in the summer. Keep scrolling down here, so you guys have got. Arthur thinks it's time to build a team around Miley, Isak, Gordon, and Tonali. Well, we will do if Gordon doesn't stop being stupid and doing stuff like he did today, which I was massively disappointed. I'm sure Gordon was disappointed himself. He looked like he was going to cry when he come off the pitch. I think he realised in that moment that he's just cost himself a place in the Carabao Cup final, and that was not good at all. I know Anthony Gordon will probably be as disappointed as anybody with that, but you need your players to be better than that. And I don't think Howe will be very pleased with that level of stupidity, really. As John says, he's fucking fuming with Gordon, and Chipper says he's let the club down as well. So it's not great, is it? Let's be honest with you, it's not great at all. Looking at that kind of thing and seeing that decision, it's not particularly good at all. Mark says, tonight's man of the match for me today. Thought Doob says, stated claim for starting spot. Absolutely, mate. He totally has. And to be fair, Tuna saying, agree. Gordon was stupid, but not disgusting, etc. Well, it was stupid. I agree with that. And it's not disgusting in terms of the standard of the foul, Tuna, but you can't do that in 2025. And Gordon should know better, mate. So he should know better. What else have we got here? Awaken thinks Gordon's red card will get overturned. Not at all. Not at all. No way at all. And Gary appreciates the bacon bollocks line. Absolutely, yeah. I was trying to think of another way to describe Steve Bruce. I ran out of acronyms for Steve Bruce, I think, to be fair. Bill Moore saying, Gordon will miss out on the runners-up medal. Will he? I just got that, mate. Sorry. For a minute, I thought you were being literal there, Bill. It's. I think I'm just, my head's buzzing after that game. I'll tell you what. I thought Dubravka cost us the last goal, to be honest, says to Coin. It's maybe a bit harsh. It's maybe a bit harsh. But, I mean, Pope cost us 3 goals, really. If you look at the Liverpool game, he should never have had that one disallowed where he just dropped it like a fanny. He really, really shouldn't. We've got a comment there. Sorry, Tim's comment. They're flying in here, guys. Tim was saying, Chris Taylor was appalling. He didn't have a grip and they could have seen 2 reds. He was gutless. Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of really bad tackles. Another one on Willock where he gets speared by the Brighton player. That one was pretty bad as well, to be fair. We've got Tune Review in the house. Good to see you, Paul. We have been poor for weeks now and they've got to get their heads out their arses. Well said, big man. Well said. Because if you show up like that against Liverpool, you'll get absolutely slapped. There is no doubt about that at all. Ricky D saying Silva, Areola, and Herzl are all better managers. Very, very hard to disagree at the minute. I mean, Eddie's not a bad manager. We'll get that right. He's not a bad manager. Newcastle are in a good position, but he does seem to throw big opportunities out the window, and it's happened quite regular of late. So it is a concern. Sanjesh is saying we can get Thomas Frank in as the next manager. I'm not sure what I think of Frank, to be honest with you. Apart from the fact he looks like an angry music composer. I'm not sure whether he's all that as a manager. I don't know who we would get. I was having this conversation the other week, and that's the problem you have is if Howe goes, who do you actually bring in? And I think the one thing I could think of was Nagelsmann, but he's obviously contracted to Germany. You have to pay him out the contract. But Nagelsmann's a bit like a improved version of Eddie Howe, but a lot more tactically savvy and a lot more tactically inept of moving in-game management, changing things. But I just don't know whether these guys would actually do that, whether they actually would flick Howe. I just don't know. Neil wants Jose, the special one. That's an interesting one because my dad asked me this about does not think that Jose Mourinho was done. A lot of people say Jose Mourinho was done. I know he's just got a bit of hot water actually over in Turkey, to be fair. But Jose Mourinho wins things. He wins trophies, and Newcastle United need a trophy. So it's a tough one. If Jose was available, would you say no? If Jose Mourinho was announced as the Newcastle manager, I don't think I'd be massively disappointed by it because he's a winner. Liam says, someone like Allegri is the next manager, Simeone or Allegri. Well, that's next level up, isn't it? Would they want to come and manage a team outside of the Champions League? I'm not sure they really would, to be fair. 2 seconds there, guys. There was a comment there that was starred and now it's gone. So I'm just going to look. Consistency. John Paul Van Heck, as the Dutch said about the speared Willock. Absolutely. Asian Tech does not want Jose. He says too old and defensive, and he would be pissed. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. Big asses get turkey teeth in. For sure. Yeah, I tell you what, I slagged off Jurgen Klopp, but if he came as a Newcastle manager, I'd be the first motherfucker on here, smiling from ear to ear with my non-turkey teeth, saying, get in. Magravate saying, we're only consistent in letting the club and fans down when it really matters. You can't always rely on us to fuck things up when we get close to any kind of success. Yeah, unfortunately, mate, I can understand. We all feel a bit raw, don't we, straight after, which is why we do the post-match. And then obviously we do the aftermath where you calm down a bit and you look at things a bit more clear, which will go out tomorrow morning, guys. And I will talk a bit more about the Anthony Gordon thing in that comment, and obviously what the plans will be from the club to try and plug that gap, really. But yeah, I suppose just kind of close it off on this. Just looking at a few more comments before we close off. Eddie Howe will be judged at the end of the season. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. He has a huge 12 games left to go in the Premier League, starting with West Ham on Monday. The biggest game of the season is at Wembley on March 16th, which that will define whether this season's been successful or not for me. If we win that Carabao Cup, which at the minute is a huge ask, if we win that Carabao Cup, this is a successful season no matter what happens in the league, because he's won a trophy, first time in 70 years. A trophy's come back in the cabinet in Newcastle United. So that's point number one. Point number two, if we lose that final, which again, people are saying is very likely the way we're playing and given who we're playing against and the way they're playing, Champions League is a must. Champions League is a must to keep a hold of the jewel in the crown, which is Alexander Isak. There is no doubt about that. If we do not get Champions League football, forget about all the noise about how the club won't sell him and all that. If we don't get Champions League football at this football club next season, Alexander Isak goes off. There's that comment, Kai. Sorry, mate, it disappeared before. We put ourselves under so much pressure trying to plough from the back, and when we don't have the players to do it, Dan Burn is not an outlet. I don't disagree with that, mate. Dan Burn should just kick it, get rid of it. Don't try and play, Dan. That ain't your game, mate. That ain't your game at all. Stephen said, I'm sorry, Chris. No chance. It would be a tough ask if we were playing great. That must be for beating Liverpool. But that's the big challenge for this squad right now, is to pick themselves up from this defeat. And like I said, this isn't the end of the world. We're out the FA Cup. This was a difficult tie. This was the hardest tie I think we could have got in the FA Cup, because Brighton are an excellent side. They're looking for silverware. They haven't won a domestic trophy, I think, in their entire existence. So they want to win that trophy. They've got a great young manager who's very innovative. He's got a young team with pace, energy, endeavour. He's got a couple of experienced heads to come on when he needs it. And they've done us over today. They've beaten us today. They've dug in the game. They've kind of gone toe-to-toe with us, and they've made the right changes at the right time to win in the football match. And that's it. And, credit to Brighton, and I hope they win the fucking FA Cup, because I could do with somebody else other than the greedy six winning the FA Cup. But Newcastle United right now have to have focus in the West Ham game next, but then it has to be on the Carabao Cup final. Our big players have to turn up in that game. We've just lost a massive one right now in the shape of Anthony Gordon, so it's going to make it even more difficult to do. But we'll talk about that, I'm sure, loads in the lead up to the game over the next couple of weeks as well. But I'm not surprised fans are upset today. I'm not surprised they're asking questions. I'm not surprised they're wondering what the manager's going to do about it. And we'll have to wait and see what happens come West Ham a week on Monday. But thanks for watching, guys. Keep it evermore. The Aftermath will be out tomorrow. Like and subscribe. Help the channel grow. We'll have some more content coming out through the week into the lead up of the West Ham game. We'll have the preview for it. I won't be here for the live post-matches. I'm away with the day job, but Mark will be behind the mic for you on the post-match after West Ham to talk you through, hopefully, Newcastle United victory, because if there's a defeat going into that game, it's going to make that final even more harder than it already is. But thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Always like the opinions in the comments. Keep it coming, guys. But like I say, don't let this ruin your day. Newcastle United hopefully will come back from this. A couple of huge games on the horizons. The lads need to step up and do the business, and let's hope they do. Have a bell, everyone. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Cheers.